So this is part 2 of making beaver tail wallets. I start by taking the tails off the board. I blocked them, and they dried overnight. And then before I make any cuts, I lay out all the pattern pieces and decide on the best way to cut out everything. Measure thrice, cut once, because once it's cut, there's no going back. And I have bins set up for each order so that I'm making sure to keep each person's beaver tails separate from each other. And this order had 3 colors, which was cool. They had a black, brown, and bone colored beaver tail. So I get to use all 3 colors in the pockets. It's looking really cool. And once the pieces are cut out, if there's any that are overly thick, I skive them down, kind of shave down the edges a bit to reduce the bulk. And then if there's any pieces that are really thin, like there were some in this case, then I glue a piece of leather to the back side to try and even out the thicknesses. So with beaver tails, the base is like 3 millimeters thick, and it tapers down, and the end can be about a 0.5 millimeter thick. So there's definitely some evening out that needs to be done. And then I glue down the pockets, the first pocket. And then while that was setting, I dyed the edges. And dye more edges. And then sew down the bottom of that first pocket. You can see it's tapered. The bottom of the pocket doesn't go all the way out to the edges to reduce bulk. And then this is burning off all the threads. And then I was testing some Tolkanol, which I use for polishing the beaver tails, because I wanted to see how it would affect that bone color. Always test on scraps. And then glue down the second pocket, and it is a requirement to hunch over the table like a goblin while gluing. That is not optional. And then sew down that second pocket just along the bottom and burn off the threads, and then more polishing. And then glue on the third layer of pockets. For the glue, I like Reina Aquilinum. It's a water-based contact cement, so you don't have to worry about ventilation. You don't get a glue headache because there's no smell to it, and it's thinner than a traditional contact cement, so I find it easier to work with. And then sew the pockets just along one edge, and the other edges are sewn during other steps of the process. And then these were the tails that I had that were my own that I had to work with. And there was one that was just the right length for a whole wallet, and then this one was short. I didn't have any extra, so I had to think of a way to use just the one tail to make a wallet. And so I'm using all my rulers to try and get just the right angle drawn so I can cut it out of the tail. And then I had to figure out how I wanted to attach it to the leather to make it look nice and also be nice and sturdy. And then I get it glued down, and you'll have to watch tomorrow's video to see what it looks like.